Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you going?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, welcome to Shitcast. Tonight's wonderful episode. Well, maybe wonderful.
We hope you'll like it.
Yeah.
It's a special review tonight.
Very special.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk going on about this movie at the moment, so we thought while people are talking about it, we might as well review it.
Caligula. No,
No,
not Caligula.
no, Caligula. No.
It is, we're talking about two films, really.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Roadhouse.
Versus
Roadhouse. Yes. Anyone seen Family Guy knows what that reference is. I only saw it yesterday for the first time.
Yep.
She made me
Everyone
watch
else is like, what the hell is he doing?
Don't worry.
Anyway,
No one knows what I'm talking about. Oh, look at my hair.
so should we start with the original Roadhouse?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we should start at the beginning.
At the beginning.
With the dawn of
Yes.
time,
Yes.
1989.
Yes, the classic 1989 B movie.
Extravaganza.
Yes.
Okay, so to summarize the plot very simply, because it is a very simple plot, a cooler called Dalton is employed by a businessman in the town of Jasper, Missouri, to come and clean up his bar called the Double Deuce. Yes.
Great name for a bar.
Yes, double poo. And to do that, he has to go there and, butt heads with all of the employees, make sure that he's basically writes down the rules, that he is boss, what he says goes, and basically he's got the...
Pisses a
the
few
run of-
people off
yeah.
along the way.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Hijinks ensue.
Yes. So if you don't know what a cooler is like the head bouncer, the guy who takes care of, it's like the team leader, team manager of bouncers, and they and he goes to the Double Deuce and ruffles a few feathers, including he gets the ire of the local businessman Ben Wesley. Is it Wesley or Wesley?
Wesley.
Wesley, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were saying Wesley the whole
No, it's
film.
Wesley.
I was thinking, don't talk about Wesley like that. And he's like the rich guy in town and owns everything and has his finger in every pie, literally. And he lives opposite. Dalton goes to live opposite his house, opposite a lake. In this old guy Emmett's barn, which is he's quite a nice old guy, not creepy at all. And
Quite a nice barn, actually. Like,
I'd live there.
yeah, as far as Airbnbs go. But
10%. No, 10 out of 10
yeah,
would rent.
yeah, absolutely would rent.
Yeah.
Gorgeous place.
And he falls for the local doc, whose name is Doc, and because he goes there once one
It's the
night.
80s. She's not important enough to actually have a name.
Anyway, so yeah, she stitches him up one night, and he brings his medical records with him, and the romance ensues, and he's got a best friend called Wade, who sort of like his mentor.
Yeah, played by the sexy at any age, Sam Elliott.
Yeah, he's pretty hot.
Yeah, he was my nan's hall pass, apparently.
I don't even think my nan knew who he was. But anyway, so yeah, he's like, he comes into it later on, and basically Dalton's job is to clean up the Double Deuce, which he does, and gets the ire of Ben Wesley and or was it Brad Wesley? It's Brad. Ben?
Ben. It was Ben.
Is it Ben? Because I know it's Ben Gazzara, the actor.
Oh, no, it was Brad.
It was Brad.
It was Brad.
Yeah, and and many scenes of him being cock of the walk and
Punching people.
and all that kind of stuff. And okay, so that's basic plot. Now, this film has an amazing pedigree.
It does. Yeah. It stars Patrick Swayze, obviously. Everyone knows that. And
Kelly Lynch.
Kelly Lynch as Doc, Sam Elliott as Wade, and then just random people peppered in throughout as well, like Keith David. Of all people who...
Yes, Childs.
Yeah, Childs from The Thing, who was getting reasonably famous around that point in time, and he has literally one line in the entire movie.
He was in They Live
the
2 years before. He was in They Live, one of the best fight scenes of all time.
Yep.
And he was in it.
Practically an extra in this movie. Very strange. But anyway.
Yeah. It's got Ben Gazzara, as I said. Everyone knows him from, well, everyone who's old, like me, knows him from 70s TV shows. I can't remember the one he was in. It was like Columbo, but I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. And yeah, it's a very B action movie. It's made by Joel Silver, produced it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a good thing, I think, because he did the Lethal Weapons.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it for many, many years, so I had to watch it again last night just to refresh my memory after watching the new Roadhouse, because so many people don't like the new Roadhouse. I was like, okay, I remember the original being okay. I don't remember it being like the best movie ever made. I'm not so sure why people are so...
Remake fatigue, maybe?
Maybe, but it seemed like more than that people would seem genuinely insulted that they would touch this movie.
Like I was with Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But that's understandable. I mean, Roadhouse is not a masterpiece, a classic film that you can't, touch.
Like you can see why it became a cult classic and is well loved to this day as a B movie, but it's not the best movie ever made. The dialogue is
Well, it's not Back to the Future.
No, it's not Back to the Future. But the dialogue is questionable at best.
It's got some great lines. I mean, it's an R-rated film, and I remember when this film came out, my sister wanted to take me to the drive-ins and see it.
Yeah.
And it was R-rated, so I couldn't go. I was only like 14 or 15 at the time. And we got it out on video, and I think she bought it at the time. And on release, like the day it came out, and it sort of went missing. I kept on watching it and watching and watching, because at the right age, right time, wall-to-wall boobs and violence. I mean, I was 14, young dude, loved it. He was my hero. Dalton was my hero. Patrick Swayze was my hero. You know, I went and saw Dirty Dancing at the drive-ins, and he was my... Like, I knew him from Red Dawn and The Outsiders.
Yeah.
So I thought he was damn cool.
Yeah.
Even Youngblood, I used to love that.
Yeah, I could certainly understand the love for this movie, and I enjoyed it watching it again. But
She did.
Yeah, it's a 80s B action movie. It's
more akin to Lethal Weapon than it is to, say, Die Hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and it's ironic enough, same music guy, Michael Kamen.
Yeah.
I mean, this film, like, it belies its parentage. Like, because he's got Dean Cundy as a cinematographer, and Ray Stella, his camera operator. Now, these guys are legendary in our world. I mean, they did The Thing, Halloween, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York. You know, they did all the great Carpenter movies, and they're doing Roadhouse.
Yeah, so you would expect a level of brilliance there, and it's
the film shot really well.
Yeah, it's not masterful by any stretch
I don't
of
think
the
it had a
imagination.
big budget. I really don't think the budget was.
No. But to his credit, at least the fight scenes did look real.
They did, and it looked painful.
Yeah, and apparently Patrick Swayze did all of his stunts in this movie. So that's,
if you couldn't hate him enough,
he
did his own damn stunts.
Own stunts. So that, and apparently most of the people he was fighting against were actually stuntmen in real life rather than actors, because it's easier to do fight choreography against stuntmen than it is actors. That makes perfect sense.
That big guy, the one that looked like Lurch, he must have been.
Must have been.
Yeah, because he was god awful ugly man.
Yeah, and you could tell that some of them weren't actors.
Polar bear fell on me.
Polar bear fell on me. Okay, buddy.
Yeah, there's some
of the line deliveries
ropey dialogue.
Classic. We'll edit in some of the best
Yeah. I think
Best
actually
lines
probably
from the
right
movie.
here we'll edit some
yes,
in. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you say you and me get nipple to nipple.
I can do that without you.
Are you kidding? I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
A polar bear fell on me.
Okay. And now that you've seen that,
Yeah.
I mean,
You're welcome.
yeah. I mean,
I'll stick in your head forever.
yeah. My favorite. What's your favorite line in this film?
I think my favorite line is when the guy in the bar says to some other guy that he can kiss his girlfriend's breasts for $20, and he's like, "Oh, really?" And
Are you kidding me?
the line delivery is just
It's fantastic.
chef's kiss.
My favorite line, I'd say, there's two. Pain don't hurt, and nobody wins in a fight.
Yeah, I like nobody wins in a fight, but pain don't hurt. It's like, okay, buddy, good
Yeah,
for you.
he refuses to get a anesthetic, local anesthetic.
Yeah, because he's a tough guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he can't fly in a plane because that's too dangerous. But he doesn't require local anesthesia to stitch up his wounds.
yeah,
He's
because
a complicated man.
and he reads a book, so
Yes.
he's a thinker.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's how you know he's a thinker, because he reads a book.
yes. I was lucky for Patrick Swayze; it wasn't upside down.
There wasn't a lot of nuance in this movie, but you don't expect there to be.
No,
No.
but I mean, there's a sense of eroticism in the whole film.
Oh my lord.
And I didn't realize, watching it when I was a kid, I didn't realize that. And watching it last night, I mean, apart from the
We'll
line,
edit in a few of those moments as well.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison. I used to fuck guys like you in prison. I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
You know, I thought you'd be bigger.
oh, now you've seen that. I mean,
Yep.
Emmett,
You understand.
yeah, and then my favorite, insult of all time. I fucked guys like you in prison. Listen to
I
this.
think it was
Listen to this.
supposed to be intimidating, but it's like,
It came off creepy.
yeah. And just, I don't know, kind of lame. It's like that's your best comeback. I fuck guys like you in prison. It's like,
And Teigman, or whatever his name is, Tillman, or whatever his name, his boss in Double Deuce,
yeah.
right? He looks him up and down and goes, "I thought you'd be bigger,"
Yeah. In a
very confronting way. I mean, he's got his shirt off and everything.
I
and
mean,
he's,
you can understand it. It's Patrick Swayze in the 80s with his shirt off. Like,
Shocking.
what's not to love?
well, he was not a particularly tall guy.
Yeah, but who cares? It's Patrick Swayze with his shirt off. What's not to love?
I mean, Emmett loved it.
Emmett really did love it.
Brad Wesley loved it. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so he does clean up the town, sweeping up the town, and his best mate Wade comes and helps him out because Wade knows something's up, and gets killed for his efforts because spoilers.
And it's really obvious that he's not going to make it to the end of the movie as well. They don't introduce his character into, I think it's 47 minutes, 44, 47,
46.
something like that,
Yeah.
Into the movie. So you know that he's sort of cannon fodder to progress the protagonist's arc along.
Yeah, I mean, it does enrage Swayze enough to drive or put a knife in his Mercedes
That
gas
he's been
pedal.
protecting throughout the whole movie. I mean, I don't like cars, but
It is a nice car.
yeah, but even I was like, oh, not the Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, I was looking at it and thinking, oh, it's got a tape deck. But he wrecks that, and but then the night before, he gets jumped on. Emmett's house gets blown up, literally blown up. There's some good explosions in this.
yeah, there was actually some good projects.
And Patrick Swayze jumps on him and knocks him off his motorbike, and they get into a fist fight.
Yeah, probably the best fight
It
in
is
the movie.
and that's when he says that immortal line: "I fucked guys like you in prison."
Yeah.
And Swayze just gets his arm like that and just grabs his hand and rips the guy's throat out, and
it's awesome.
it's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that there's an uncut version though. I can remember when as a kid it was much gorier, but hey,
You know, it's like that though when you rewatch movies from the 80s. You watch it and you're like, oh, that's nowhere near as bad as I thought it was.
yeah. I want to see the blood go,
Yeah.
but that's not going to happen. And so with Wade getting killed, it's like Brad Wesley says, well, you killed my Jimmy, I killed your friend, So he's thinking, and you killed some of my other boys because Dalton just goes on a freaking rampage and starts killing all of the bad guys. It's not just like knocking them out and all that kind of stuff. He actually, knifes them and
And when you get the most hilarious moment in the movie.
Ben Gazzara
Well,
versus Patrick Swayze.
Well, before that moment, you get what you think is death by polar bear, but it's actually he
gets knocked out.
Knocked out by polar bear. But it is
Naked American man stole my balloon.
I know, just again
just
the
a
line
weird
the line
line.
delivery.
Polar bear fell on me.
Yeah.
And
Magic.
To spoil it even further, we think that Patrick Swayze is going to do the old throat rip out trick again, and just leaves him alone, and he goes to leave, just turn his back on him, like almost a thing like Karate Kid too, and Ben Gazzara gets the gun that he had on him, and all of a sudden he just gets shot out of nowhere, and it's all the guys that he's been ripping off in the town, all the guys that have been previously scared of him, just blow the living shit out of him with guns, rifles, shotguns, everything.
Yep.
It was fantastic. It was like finally they all stood up to him and shot the living crap out of him.
And then in a twist that would never happen in real life, the sheriff walks in and is like, "What happened here?" And all 7 of the middle-aged townsmen are like, "We didn't see anything."
And that's when the line, "Polar bear fell on me."
Yeah, a polar bear fell on me.
So obviously, Tinker, is his name Tinker?
I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't see anything. And it's like the girl, the love interest Doc, she was actually a paramour of Brad's beforehand. Like he wanted her and she just rejected him. And that was like another reason why Brad wants to kill Dalton. And she just runs into his arms after he's killed about 5 or 6 guys. And
And this is after she's decided that she doesn't want to be anywhere near him because he ripped
the guy's
someone's throat out.
in front of her.
Which, is,
And she's a doctor.
is understandable. That's pretty hardcore. But
You mean you'd run away from me if I ripped a guy's throat out in front of you?
no, but I'm weird.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the next scene is Emmett watching them in the lake, naked, having sex, and Emmett's on the side.
Oh, God, I forgot Emmett was watching them.
He's on the side watching them.
This is a really creepy movie.
It's R-rated, so it's okay to have a creepy
Right.
old dude watching them have sex.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
So so that's the 1989 Roadhouse. What would we give that out of 10?
I know what I would give it.
What would you give it?
I'd give it 7.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 7 as well. That's pretty fair. It's not the best movie ever made, but it's
It's a decent film.
good fun to watch. Would watch again.
I would put it in the category of the Lethal Weapons. I mean, Lethal Weapons I watch every year at Christmas, but I mean, Roadhouse, there's no special date you could watch Roadhouse on.
No.
I mean, we watch it on April 1st. So, maybe that'll be a new tradition. That's so sad.
April 1st Roadhouse.
Yeah, and that leads us on to Roadhouse 2, Electric Boogaloo. No.
Roadhouse 2024 with Jake Gyllenhaal. Not so popular, this remake.
Don't know why. I mean, we can allude to the fact that we actually both enjoyed it.
Yeah, sorry, Mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I found it entirely entertaining.
Yeah.
And I'm not offended by the fact that it was remade because the first one wasn't untouchable, as I said, and it was it's Doug Liman.
There were a lot of
Another good
interesting
pedigree.
Differences that actually made this film enjoyable, I thought.
Well, again, his name is Dalton, and he is a caller.
But he's an ex-UFC fighter.
Yeah, and with a past.
Yes.
Why do we always do that?
Because it's very dramatic. With the past.
With the past. Yeah. And you learn his past throughout the movie.
Yeah.
He once killed a guy in Texas. No, we can spoil that. I mean, it's spoil. Guys, we're just going to spoil it. He was in a fight with his best mate in the UFC ring, and he basically killed his best mate, with his bare hands because something ticked him off, and he's like, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry," sort of
that
character
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which. Hey, it works. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal has charisma to burn in this film.
I thought he was great. He definitely played the character different to how Swayze did it. Swayze played Dalton as a very serious guy. It's, Jake Gyllenhaal clearly knows he's in a B movie, and
tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
He's very tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
but he's charming and everything, and he does deliver every retort and cheesy line.
Yeah.
He does it with such gusto that you can't help but love the guy.
Yeah, and he delivers the lines in such a way that there's several lines that are exactly the same in the remake from the original, but the way Gyllenhaal delivers the lines, it actually makes a lot more sense because there is that level of sarcasm and humour to his character that Swayze doesn't have. So
The self-awareness.
there's a self-awareness that makes the dialogue actually, I wouldn't say pop because it's still terrible.
Well, I mean, the dialogue is not written by Shakespeare, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be. But, and there's another character. So Dalton goes down to Florida after being courted by this bar owner called Frankie, African American lady, which is very important to some people. Because they gender swapped and racially swapped it, which doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah.
People that worry about that have got too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
And
I thought she was great.
yeah, she was fantastic. And so he goes down to the Florida Keys and goes to this. It's not called the Double Deuce. It's called Roadhouse, and that's the joke. It's called Roadhouse. And then trouble follows him wherever he goes, and there's a bad guy. You think his name is Brad as well?
Yeah, it is. The bad guy's name is Brad Wesley again, but
he's a young guy.
Yeah, he's like whereas the main antagonist in the first movie is a middle-aged guy. This guy is in his
30s?
30 at most. He's late 20s, early 30s.
And he's trying to prove something to his dad.
Yeah, and it's his father who's in jail, who's like the head honcho, who we never get to see, I don't think.
Well, maybe if this film
He's
was
talked about,
popular,
but we never.
maybe there would be a sequel where he gets out of prison.
But the biggest mistake they made in this movie.
One mistake in the movie, and we were talking to Alicia's folks the other night, and Dad said it very succinctly.
Yeah.
He says that I was with the movie until Conor McGregor
came
comes
in. Yeah.
And it's true. The man is not an actor. He cannot act. He is a blight on the cinematic universe.
It's painful to watch. He has a very thick Irish accent, so you can't understand a word he's saying.
He's subtitle
half the
man.
Time. Which would be forgivable if his line delivery was in.
Hurdy, birdie. Reminds me of Brad Pitt in Snatch.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Except
but we can
Brad Pitt
understand him.
Can act.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord. I mean, look, apart from Conor McGregor, the film's pretty good.
It's like
I liked it a lot.
Conor McGregor had an idea for the character and just walked on set and started doing his thing, and everyone was too afraid to go, no, that's too much. Because he has this swagger and...
Cock of the walk, as I called it.
Yeah, I hate it when guys swagger when they walk in general.
He looks like a cloud.
I think it is literally the most pathetic thing I've ever seen.
I can't see what this is about. Where the fuck is everyone?
It's signposting that he's an alpha or whatever.
Yeah, but it was that kind of dickhead walk times 10, and he does it throughout the entire film, like literally with arms out like this as he walks.
Yeah, a cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just he can't act, and his line delivery is awful. However, there is a character that's a doctor, another love interest, and she actually played Ratcatcher in the Suicide Squad, and she was great in that. Was it Joaquin Almeida? Or I can't remember his name. Forgive me. He's her dad, who's the head of police.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's corrupt in this town. Everyone's corrupt. No one's telling each other anything. It's basically like it's secrets and lies by Mike Lee. Yeah, everyone's got something to hide.
But the basic premise is the same as the original. You know, Dalton's hired to clean up the Roadhouse and make it a safer place, and he does that, and in doing so pisses off the guy
Wesley,
who's in charge of everything.
And there's a secret why Brad Wesley wants this pub is because it's a very convenient place to ship drugs in and out of.
Right
of the
near
Keys.
a marina or something like that.
Yeah, it's not really explained very well, and just like this does have a few expositional problems.
Yeah, and it turns it's kind of it doesn't really matter in the end, because it turns out that our main bad guy isn't really our main bad guy. Our main bad guy is supposed to be Conor McGregor, who is hired by Brad Wesley's dad to kill Dalton when
he won't get
when
a
Brad
go.
can't get the job done.
Yeah,
and he kind of saunters in and takes over, and then in the end he just
everyone
snaps
Yeah,
Brad Wesley's neck for no good reason.
he just kills him.
He's been hired by this guy's dad, and just because the script says so, he kills him.
He's such a
It
piece
makes
of crap.
zero sense.
Yeah, I mean, if it was me making this movie, the first thing I'd do is see the screen test of Conor McGregor and just go, no. And then I'd do a rewrite that takes that character and just goes
Yeah.
and lowers him right down the cast list.
Because clearly he was meant to be. There's a character in the first movie named Jimmy who is like the right hand man to Brad Wesley.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
He's the big guy. He's the martial
He's a
arts
six-fingered
expert.
man.
He's the big bad before he gets to the big bad.
You know how we know he's a big bad? Because he wears a cross in his ear.
Right, that's how we know apparently. But Conor McGregor is clearly supposed to be that guy.
Jimmy.
So he could have been hired to play that guy, and they could have pared his part right back, but they didn't. They made it bigger.
Yeah.
And then to make matters worse, they didn't kill him off. You think he's dead at the end, and it's
mid-credit sequence spoiler.
Yeah.
It's like Dalton. There's this character, this young girl that when Dalton comes into town on the bus, he goes to this bookstore that's near the bus stop, and this girl's basically telling him, "You're like a sheriff in an old Western book that goes into to clean up the town and clean up the saloon, and then rides off into the sunset." And that's literally what happens in this film. It's not it's not like the first Roadhouse. It has a little bit more.
Yeah, he stays in the town at the end and ends up with the girl. Like he does.
Yeah.
Clean up the town, and then he leaves.
Yeah,
which actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I mean, then again, it's Kelly Lynch. I probably wouldn't have left town. Sorry, and then in this one he leaves, and you think, okay, cool, he's left. The film's over. Story is done, and then you realise that Conor McGregor's still alive, and he's probably gonna go after Dalton.
Yeah,
because he walks out
saunters out of hospital with
no clothes. Well, he's got
arse out with a hospital gown on.
First scene you see him, he's naked. He walks,
is there any explanation for why he's naked in the first
I think he's
scene?
having sex with someone's wife.
Right.
Although, I mean,
I don't know. I was just so distracted by the way he was walking, I completely forgot.
Yeah, he looks like the kind
why
of
he
guy
was
that
on
would
the
actually
screen.
have an innie.
I don't know.
Because and I'd tell him that to his face.
Wouldn't surprise me. He's probably on a lot of steroids.
Yeah, he would have to be. He's so damn huge. Oh, the character's name's Knox. That's it. Yeah, I was trying to rack my brain and think it because he's such an abrasive character. You just want to forget him as soon as he's on screen. However, he's not the bad part of the he's the bad part of the film. Apart from him, the film's actually very good.
Yeah, the Dalton getting to know all the characters in the Roadhouse and learning about his past and everything was actually really interesting. And like I said, the way Jake Gyllenhaal sort of portrays the character is actually probably a more nuanced performance than Swayze gave it.
Well, he's more of an actor than Swayze was.
And you can tell that Jake Gyllenhaal put a lot of effort into, beefing up for the role, although you don't really get to see it that much because the fight scenes in this movie are
CG enhanced, AI enhanced.
Yeah, very CG enhanced. In the opening scene of the movie when you see a UFC fight, the CG is really obvious and it's
like the punches land, but it's actually a CG punch.
Yeah.
So like if someone's like goes like that,
yeah,
it's like you know that they're
rubber face to the right.
Yeah, you know that they're going like that, but they CG it so it actually looks like it makes contact, and it
it's like why do that? Just edit it better. And the big
Rocky,
fight
hello.
is between him and Conor McGregor at the end, which is supposed to be the penultimate moment of the movie. You can't see half of it because it's random wide shots, one of which you can clearly see is Jake Gyllenhaal's stunt double. Like it's really, really obvious because they have completely different body types and head shapes. And but they try and cover over that with lens flares and quick edits so that we wouldn't notice, but we noticed.
It's
Sorry.
like I remember when watching the original Highlander, and then watching the last Highlander movie,
Yeah.
it's very similar. It's like they did the similar thing with like lens flare and wide shots that you see body doubles, but then it's when they're fighting, it's like a lot of quick cuts and stuff like that. And that's that's the whole thing. Like just to go from Highlander, the first film you see like them sword fighting, and the camera's dollying with them and all that, and it's beautiful. By the end of the fifth film, it's like the camera's right there, and all that kind of stuff.
It's like the difference between watching Taken and Taken.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The editing.
Oh, it's there's some fight sequences that are pretty cool, but it's marred by the CG.
Yeah, and there were some clever camera movements in the
first person camera boxing.
That were really cool, but you couldn't feel the tension in the fight because every time you saw something cool, it was then ruined by a really obvious CG punch or a lens flare or a quick edit or something to that effect, which was a shame considering how much effort was obviously put into actually choreographing those scenes.
I mean, cool fact about this film is written by David Lee Henry, who actually wrote the original film as well. So they did have a good sense of continuity from the first film to this one, except for Conor McGregor. This is the nadir of the film. And I do like that. The pedigree on this one was good as well because of Doug Liman.
Yeah.
Doug Liman, he did The Bourne Identity, Go. There's quite a few films. Look him up. He's a great director. Actually, he's really talented. And this was actually supposed to come out at the cinema until like a month or so ago, where Amazon decided, no, we're just going to put it on streaming.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would have gone to the movies and seen it.
So would I.
I mean, yeah, well, we would go and see it together.
Yeah.
Funny enough. Yeah. But, and it's a shame because this film could have, I reckon it could have been a hit.
I wouldn't go that far. Like, I can see...
There is a succinct lack of this kind of film in the cinemas at the moment.
Yeah.
And it would slot nicely into that slot,
But if it wasn't for Conor McGregor, I would agree with you. But I think his presence actually does ruin the movie a little bit. Like,
yeah,
he
knocks it down 2 points.
Yeah, when we watched the movie, we finished it and we both looked at each other and went, "That wasn't terrible. That was actually quite enjoyable." But after a couple of days of reflection, just thinking back on it, and then seeing the original Roadhouse and being able to compare the two, it's like, oh, okay, actually, yeah, Conor McGregor really does actually wreck this movie a little bit.
I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic as Dalton.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he, as you say, he got the brief.
Yeah, he did understand the brief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's genuinely funny in many moments.
I mean, there's one great scene, one of the first fight scenes in the films, and he actually asks the bad guys, do you have insurance? And he says, is there a hospital nearby? Because he's basically saying, I'm going to beat the living crap out of you, and you're going to need a hospital. And
there's a line in the original movie where Swayze says to Jimmy, "You're an asshole.
You're such an asshole."
Yeah, and Gyllenhaal says the exact same thing to Conor McGregor on the boat. "You're such an asshole." But the way the line is delivered by Gyllenhaal, it's so much better. When Swayze says it, it's like it's a little bit cringe. When Gyllenhaal says it, it's like he's just so clearly befuddled by this
stupid,
this
idiot,
this monstrous giant
cloud
of stupidity in front of him.
Subtitle man.
Yeah, that he almost can't believe it, and you get that through his line delivery.
It's like what film was it? With what Michael J. Fox says in Back to the Future 3, he says, "He's an asshole."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's like that.
It's meant to have a level of levity to it.
Yes. So,
I think the other big difference in this movie is the lack of Wade.
Wade is missed.
Yeah, well,
I missed him. Sam Elliott could have played it too.
He totally could have, actually. But it didn't bother me that much. Like I said, he was almost as superfluous character to me. I mean, sexy Sam Elliott aside, but not knocking sexy Sam Elliott. Aside,
She is.
I'm not. I mean, he was great in the movie, but could have just as easily not been there, and it wouldn't have made that much of a difference.
I just think the character, he needed. I think he needed someone. I mean, they sort of gave that role to Doc, or the new Doc, sort of thing, like his sounding board.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice for this Dalton to have more of a, like, someone to talk to, because we find out that he's killed his best mate in the UFC ring, but the thing is, like, there's no real exposition for this. I mean, there's the fight at the end where he has with Conor McGregor, and Enter Sandman by Metallica is playing, and what you actually know from watching behind the scenes and everything, that was actually Dalton's UFC entering the ring song, and nowhere in the film does it actually mention Metallica or this song or anything.
Cut all those scenes out.
And it's like all of a sudden Enter Sandman comes in, and it's like a K-Tel version.
Yeah. So you could have
actually
had
them.
Wade could have been his friend that he ends up killing in the ring, and you could have, learnt more about his character through flashback scenes or something like that. That would have been interesting.
Been cool. Yeah. And it could have they could have been buddies that was listening to Enter Sandman, and and that kind of stuff, grew up together and stuff. But no, they didn't do that. I mean, it's I just thought, it's not actual Metallica playing Enter Sandman. It's a cover band playing Enter Sandman, and it's not great.
No, it wasn't great.
But whatever, you unless you get.
It took me a hot minute to figure out that's what they were actually playing. I'm like, this sounds familiar. It's like, oh,
yeah.
What?
I mean, this is when Metallica turned into a bunch of anyway. But that's a story for another time.
I think it's a good song.
That's
anyway,
the decline. Anyway,
so what we give this movie out of?
You can go first this time.
I think I'd give this movie a 5 out of 10. I would watch it again, but Conor McGregor just takes
your breath away.
No, I really wish I didn't have to see him ever again. Actually,
yeah,
me
too. I'm going to give this a 5.75.
Well, that's very specific.
It is, because I can't give it a 6 because that would mean it's above average.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not above average because of Conor McGregor. Yeah. But it's actually a decent, take him out of the film, it's a very decent film.
Yeah, and that is the shame of it, because if they had chosen to go with literally anyone else,
it would have been 7.5,
this guy,
8.
It probably would have been a much better movie.
A hell of a better film.
Yeah. But they didn't, so
they didn't.
What can you do?
Watch the original again.
Anyway, that was our hot takes on
Roadhouse.
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 Anyone who hasn't seen Family Guy is just going to...
Yeah, but, do we care?
No, that's true.
Okay, so from me, everyone stay hydrated.
And remember, leggings are not pants.